Hi, I'm Leanne and welcome to my kitchen and welcome to week 2 of apple month. Now, if you missed week 1, you're not going to want to miss this recipe. Sour cream apple pie for 2. Just a perfect amount of pie. So good. But today I've got a yummy, cozy fall treat for you. We're making apple muffins. Now, these apple muffins are perfectly spiced. They're filled with tender diced apples and topped with a sweet, buttery crumble. But the best part is this recipe makes 4 muffins, the perfect amount for you and someone else to enjoy a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a yummy fall treat, and not have a ton of leftovers. So for our muffins, we're going to use I like to use a Granny Smith apple. You only need 1 apple, okay? If you don't have a Granny Smith, use whatever you have, whatever your favorite apple is, a Honeycrisp, a Gala, a Fuji. I just like a tartar apple when I'm baking. And I've just taken it and I have quartered my apple. You do not have to peel it. Now, if you want to peel it, go ahead and peel it. But trust me on this one, once you bake these into the muffin, you won't even know that the peel is on there. So let's see, I'm going to take now my grater and we're going to grate this apple, skin and all. And that is how we're going to put it into our muffin. All right, we've got it all grated, ready to use, and we're just going to set this aside for just a minute while we mix together our dry ingredients. So in a bowl, I'm going to combine a 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour. I'm going to use 1/8 of a teaspoon of baking soda, 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And then just give that a quick little stir. Then our wet ingredients. All right, for our wet ingredients, well, some of them are dry. We're gonna add some sugar, but 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. I've got in here 2 tablespoons of softened butter. You want it nice and soft. And then we've got 2 tablespoons of beaten egg. Again, you can save the other part of the beaten egg, freeze it for more muffins later, or you can check out some of my giant cookie recipes up there. Perfect way to use this up, or throw it into your eggs in the morning. And then our grated apple. Now, depending on the size of your apple, your amount is going to vary. Approximately 1 cup of grated apple. And we're just going to combine all that together. All right, and then we're going to add in those dry ingredients we mixed together. Now this is going to make a nice thick muffin batter, okay? So don't be concerned if it seems too thick. It is nice and thick. All right, after we have it all mixed up, we're going to get our muffin tin. I'm using just a small one, and we're going to make 4 muffins. So I'm using cupcake liners. You totally can just spray it if you want. I just think it's easier to use liners. And I got my little scoop here, and you just want to evenly fill. I think this is about 1/3 of a cup scoop. Let's see, I might have filled that first one a little too full. And it should give you 4 perfectly sized muffins. Yeah, I'm gonna have to steal. There you go. Get them as even as you can. And now we're gonna make the yummy streusel topping. You can see they're pretty well full to the top. There's a little bit of space to put that crumble on top. All right, one tip I forgot to share with you about mixing up muffin batter. You don't want to overmix it, okay? Mix it just until all your dry ingredients are incorporated. Over mixing makes for a tough muffin, and no one wants a tough muffin. You want it nice and tender and light. All right, so now for the crumble topping. In my bowl, I have 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I'm gonna add in, yes, I can talk. Add in 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour, a pinch of cinnamon, and I have about a teaspoon and a half of cold, just chopped up butter here. I like to use cold butter for the streusel crumble because it helps it hold its shape. It doesn't just like melt all off of the top of the muffin. So then I just take my clean fingers and mix it together till it resembles damp sand. Once your streusel topping is nice and crumbly, sprinkle it over the top of the muffins. Then we're going to put them in the oven, a 375-degree Fahrenheit oven for 20 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean. All right, our muffins are out. They're still a little bit warm, but I couldn't wait any longer. One thing I wanted to tell you, Sometimes one of my favorite things to add into these muffins are some cinnamon chips. I just didn't have any today, but some cinnamon chips are delish. I would add in maybe like a 1/4 cup of cinnamon chips. It's so good in with the apple. But these are just, muffins are the perfect fall treat. It's just to sit down with a cup of tea and enjoy this yummy, tender, delicious apple muffin. It just screams fall. And I am so ready for fall. So make sure you've turned on notifications and subscribe, because I've got more apple recipes coming up that you don't want to miss. So thanks for joining me in the kitchen.